Hello everybody, this is Mr. MacDonald and I'm just making a hints video for the CAS learning assignment that will open on 9/11. So some of the things you're going to need to know. What's divine right? Well, divine right is basically an idea that a ruler's authority will come from God and whatever they do is justified because they have divine right and their power comes from God. Another thing you may need to know, and you can always Google and use the internet too, but the autocracy, the state, they will issue laws, they will tax, they will rule with an iron fist. And anybody who's associated with this political cartoon of the state of an autocracy, Louis XIV, Philip II from Spain, any of those monarchs. Other hints. Well, you never know. What was the result of mercantilism in Latin America? Well, we know mercantilism was a policy where the mother country, the Europeans, got all the money. What's the result? The people, the natives, were treated horribly. They were exploited. The natural resources were taken by the Europeans, and all the money was taken by the Europeans. So the big result is the labor was exploited. Another thing you may need to know, Peter the Great, and we will talk about the Meiji Emperor from Japan soon, but what did Peter the Great do? He tried to modernize Russia. He tried to westernize Russia. He wanted to make Russia on par with the rest of the world with Western technology. You see, Peter the Great, it's always westernization and modernization. Another fact, Louis XIV, he was from France, but you need to know what a fact is compared to an opinion. An opinion is what somebody believes. A fact is something that could be proven. So, that I will leave to you on the test. Next, a statement about Louis, a statement about Philip II and Peter the Great. What would they support? All these guys were absolute monarchs. All these guys believed in divine right. They'll only support a statement saying that the king has all the power. We know that. They were absolute monarchs. Remember that. Mercantilism again. What is mercantilism? Who makes the money? The European governments make the money. So always remember that when you see it. The money went to the Europeans. Next, you may have to read some sort of passages, but the theory of divine right and its justification for absolute government, what's that from? That comes, central power will all be in the government. Centralized authority. The kings have all the power. You guys know that. So that's what divine right is. All the power goes to the kings. Now, what's the change Peter the Great made to Russia? I heard some people say it. Westernization. He tried to modernize Russia. Other things. Suleiman the Magnificent, yeah, he was a king. Louis XIV, he was a king. What do kings do? They don't want to be weak. They want to centralize their power and make their government strong. Another hint for the test. If you're reading along this test, you know you need to know mercantilism again. What is mercantilism? Oh, Mr. MacDonald told me. It is the policy that trade will benefit the European country. Colonies are only to make money for the mother country. Another test question. Louis XIV, how would he strengthen power? What do? They centralize power. That means they're bringing power all into one central location. The king will have all the power. Next, Louis XIV, he built the Palace of Versailles. Peter the Great built a city and called it St. Petersburg. Why did they do that? Because they wanted the whole world to know how strong they are. So they built these great monuments to personal rule. And the term mercantilism, once again, you know it. All the money goes to the European power. The colonies get treated horribly and the people get exploited. Next, one way in Peter the Great, Louis and Philip are similar. What are all these guys similar? They take the power for themselves. They believe in divine right. They centralize the government. They believe they're God's representatives on earth. Next question. What was the big thing with mercantilism? They wanted to increase the supply of gold and silver and have a favorable balance of trade for the Europeans. Another thing. What happened in Russia because of Peter the Great? We know he would go and try and copy the good things he saw working in other parts of Europe and bring them back. He modernized the Russian army. He tried to get a warm water port. He tried to get more land for Russia. But the big thing is he westernizes. He tries to modernize. He goes to other countries and takes their ideas, brings them back, and copies them. The king is God, and law is from the king. James the First said that. We didn't talk about him, but what would that mean? What concept's that associated? If the king is God, we know the concept, divine right, or absolutism, getting all that power to the kings. Next, the European view of trade. If we see a political cartoon and it says all the gold and silver goes from the colonies to the mother country, all the raw materials go to the mother country, and all the profits go to the mother country. What's that economic policy? I heard you say it. It's mercantilism. Awesome. And another last hint. I know I'm going through these fast, but I want to take up your time. What French king said, "I am the state"? Take a look in your notes. And we know it was the Sun King. Who was the French king that was also nicknamed the Sun King? Oh, you'll remember. It's Louis XIV. Thanks so much. Study. You've got a lot of time to take this test. You can watch this again, and you can use any resources for you. Get that A+. Thank you. Can't wait to see all those great grades.